It started in a small town called Willow Creek, the kind of place where people still wave to each other on Main Street, where the church bell rang every Sunday, and the coffee at the diner was always hot. Life was simple, steady. But the town's little school was falling apart. The roof leaked every time it rained, the paint peeled off the walls, and the heater had given up 2 winters ago. Still, parents smiled and said, "Someday we'll fix it." And one morning, that someday arrived. The headline read, "Willow Creek wins $2 million state grant for a new school." The diner erupted in cheers. Kids pressed their noses to the newspaper stand. Hope filled the air like fresh spring rain. Mayor Frank Dalton, a man with a firm handshake and a polished smile, stood before the crowd and said, "We did this together." The future of Willow Creek begins today. People believed him. They always had. 3 months later, that same hope began to fade. The empty field behind the old school stayed empty. No workers, no machines, no progress. "Maybe it's just paperwork," someone said. "Government stuff takes time." But Emily Rhodes wasn't convinced. She wasn't a big city reporter, just the editor of the Willow Creek Voice, a small-town newspaper that covered bake sales and lost pets. But she cared about truth, and she had a feeling something wasn't right. One afternoon, she stopped by the school board meeting. "Has anyone heard from the state?" she asked. The superintendent looked nervous. "Not yet, Emily." "The mayor handles those things." That answer didn't sit right. If the state had sent the money, why wasn't anything being built? She walked to City Hall, an old red brick building that smelled like dust and old paper. The clerk, Tom Evans, greeted her with a tired smile. "Morning, Emily. You're digging again?" "Just looking for the school grant records," she said softly. He hesitated. "Those are sensitive files." "Tom," she said kindly, "this town deserves answers." He sighed, disappeared into the back room, and returned with a thick folder. "Here," he said quietly, "but you didn't get this from me." Emily smiled. "You're a good man, Tom." She sat down under the yellow office light. Dozens of pages, financial reports, approval letters, until one entry made her freeze. "Transfer, $2 million, from State Education Fund to Dalton Development, LLC. Dalton, the mayor's name. She turned the page. There was his signature, Frank Dalton, mayor of Willow Creek. Her heart pounded. She whispered, "No, it can't be." She took photos of the documents, her hands shaking. Proof, but not yet the full picture. She needed to be sure the school never got the funds. So she made one more call. "Willow Creek Bank," said the clerk. "Can you confirm if the school account received a state transfer this year?" Silence. Then the answer. "No record of that, ma'am." Emily closed her eyes. The truth was out there, hidden in plain sight. She looked out the window at her small, quiet town and felt something break inside her. "They trusted him," she whispered. "We all did." But now she knew what she had to do. That night, her desk lamp glowed long past midnight. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard, and slowly she began to type, swapping the results, how Willow Creek's school money vanished. She paused. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "If I do this, I might lose everything." Then she looked at the framed photo of the children at the old school. Rain dripping through the ceiling, their smiles unbroken. "They deserve the truth," she said softly. That night, the mayor's phone rang off the hook. Reporters, residents, city council members, all demanding answers. Frank Dalton stood at his window, the light from the street lamp glinting off his wedding ring. He whispered, "She's ruined me." But deep down, he knew he'd done that himself. The next evening, the gymnasium was packed for an emergency town meeting. People murmured, holding copies of Emily's article. The air felt thick with betrayal. Frank walked to the podium, his smile strained. "Friends, neighbors, there's been a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" someone shouted. "You took our children's future." He raised his hands. "Please, the funds were redirected temporarily. I had to move them for land zoning. It's all legal." Emily stood slowly from her seat near the back. Her voice was calm, clear. "Then why were they transferred to your company's account?" Frank's face went pale. Murmurs filled the room. She walked forward, holding a folder. "I have the bank records." "Signed by you," Mayor Dalton gasps rippled through the crowd. The mayor's hands trembled on the podium. "You don't understand," he said weakly. "I meant to pay it back." But his voice was drowned out by anger, by heartbreak, by truth. One teacher whispered, "We trusted you." Another said, "Our kids went cold every winter while you built your business." Frank stepped down quietly and walked out into the night, the echo of his footsteps replaced by a stand in silence. Days later, state investigators arrived. The missing funds were recovered. Frank Dalton resigned and left Willow Creek for good. And the town, the same town that once cheered him, came together in a way it never had before. Volunteers cleared the field. Builders offered discounts. Parents baked meals for the workers. By summer, the first bricks of the new school were laid, not with stolen money, but with honesty, teamwork, and heart. Emily stood by the fence one evening, the golden sun setting behind her. A little girl waved through the half-built gate. "Are you the lady who saved our school?" she asked. Emily smiled softly. "No, sweetheart. Your town did. I just helped them see the truth." When the ribbon was finally cut, every bell in Willow Creek rang at once, a sound of redemption. Emily watched from the crowd, tears glistening in her eyes. She whispered to herself, "Sometimes justice starts with one voice, but it takes a community to make it real." Moral: a community is strongest when it stands together for justice. Lies may divide, but truth rebuilds. Thank you for listening to Swapping the Results. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who still believes in honesty and courage. Tell me in the comments, would you speak out if it meant standing alone? Don't forget to subscribe for more emotional real-life stories about truth, justice, and the strength of ordinary people. A local politician promised to park for the kids. Stay honest, stay kind, was cleared, and never stop standing for what's right. And then nothing. Add a final comment at the end. Residents subscribe to the channel, moving the equipment in a warm, friendly style. Budget cut.